kind of feel it's a bit paradoxical, because the story for me is from going from this vision of the DRC as a collective to going out there and doing some research and getting very cross with not having enough money to do it with, and all that stuff that I used to be on the receiving end of when I worked in the coordination unit. And now so it's paradoxical, because at the same time I'm very moved and inspired to hear people talk about how they've journeyed in the opposite way. They've gone from being researchers doing their thing in their own context to sensing that they are part of an international collectivity that's working on important stuff and that's enriching each other's perspectives.
Thank you very much, Lucilla. One interesting story, an event, was some of the work I was involved with Priya in Vishakhapatnam in Andhra Pradesh. And we'd spent several days going around the villages and the communities, talking with NGOs and the companies that were operating in that area. And one of the key things that was coming through was the lack of responsiveness, both of the government and of the company, towards the demands and the concerns of these communities. So one of the things we were able to do through the local NGO, and in my role as an outsider, if you like, was to host a press conference, which managed to attract a lot of attention. We had 2 or 3 local papers came and one regional paper, and they were able to cover the story. We were able to present some of the findings, highlight some of the concerns that we'd been hearing about. And why this was significant was it brought home to me the role of NGOs, or us as researchers, in our role as facilitators, in drawing to attention to things which otherwise wouldn't be paid attention to. So for me, that was quite significant.
Thank you very much. And I was teaching a course on citizenship and participation at the University of the Western Cape, based directly on some of the material that we've looked at the DRC. And I got an essay back from a student, and he wrote this 20-page essay comparing the theories of Naila Kabir with the theories of John Gaventa. And it was an amazing essay, and the student ended on a very high note. He's a Namibian student, his name is Stephen Otieno, and I'm hoping to bring him into this network. And that was the highlight for me, that the DRC had resulted in me being able to bring a new course to UWC, where students were able to discuss literature they'd never discussed before, and I got this wonderful, fantastic essay.
I'd like to hear a story now. Tell us a story that's stuck with you and that's really spoken to you about what this program's supposed to be doing.
That's a very hard question.
It's your question.
I know. Well, when we were in Nigeria in February, and we had a big group of people we had about 15 people. We were working on this book, and we had a write shop. We went to visit some places where Steve and Jenks have been doing their research, and we had to go in the bus for all these hours, and there were all kinds of confusions with the logistics and problems with getting where we were supposed to be and everything. But still, at the end of it, it was this very powerful and intense experience of seeing the drama performed by the villagers about accountability and in Nigeria, and being confronted with all those questions that we had just been discussing in a workshop a couple of days before. And I think that is kind of one thing that's really important about the DRC and the DRC network, is that ability to juxtapose these conversations with actual experience of going into a village and watching a drama in Nigeria or whatever it is. And actually after that trip, Carlos Cortez sent an email to everyone saying, what a privileged experience it was to be able to do that. And I think that's really true. There is something about going with this group of really diverse people from different places into an actual context where people are doing their work and seeing what it's like, and then discussing all those different elements. And I think that's kind of what has been a big part of how the network has been sustained.
That's great. Thanks a lot. I think we better get to a group. Thanks very much.